Welcome back to the Zach F1 channel, and this is your summary of what we've learnt from FP1 and FP2. And this video is for anyone who can't join the deadline stream tomorrow due to time zones, due to work constraints. For any reason that is necessary for you, this is the video for you, as this is as close as you're going to get to final thoughts from me before the actual qualifying and FP3 on the Saturday. Now, straight off the bat, I can say it looks like it's going to be one of those practice sessions where we can't learn too much from. I doubt Hulkenberg's going to be in P4, and I'd be surprised if Aston Martin do as well as what they've been saying. However, there are still things we can learn, and let's get straight into it. So first off, the big point is McLaren is a must-have, and when I mean McLaren, I mean all of their assets. All of their assets are good choice, especially Norris as a driver and McLaren as a constructor. Piastri is very much a good second premium driver though, if you're going for that 2 premium driver build. Definitely looks like a McLaren weekend coming up right now. Again, following on talking about the McLarens, Norris is definitely still the best 2x option. He's been blitzing it in practice. No one looks anywhere close to him. He has to be the one you put your 2x on, because he'll probably get fastest lap. Even if he comes second, he'll get driver of the day. We know this happens all the time, and it's still happening, so why not? He didn't even finish the race technically in Austria. Technically he did. He still got driver of the day, so expect Norris to be scoring a lot of points this weekend. Then Red Bull as the second best constructor. Like I said, even though it looked a bit sloppy, Perez looked a bit better in FP2. Verstappen hasn't looked amazing. However, they'll pull it out of the bag, and if there's anyone who can fight the McLarens, it's going to be the Red Bulls. So no doubt in my mind, they're still the second best constructor. Mercedes third best constructor. Ferrari still look like a don't go near. Then another big one, don't believe the Aston Martin hype, because yes, they did well in FP1, but FP2 is the one you really want to be looking at with a bit more detail. As yes, it'd be nice for Aston Martin to do well. I expect them to have a better weekend than what they've been having. It's still going to be around 9th for being really nice, and 12th, 13th for being a bit more realistic. Then both VCARB drivers you need to be a little bit careful of. They haven't really shown any real pace, so I'm a little bit scared if you have any VCARB drivers, so Sonoda or Ricciardo. Be a little bit wary putting them in your team. Then the best 3 cheap drivers for Silverstone from the looks of things will be Gasly. He has a 20 place grid penalty, which means he will definitely start at the back of the grid. And with the pace the Alpine's got, I expect him to get up to around P12 to P15, which will definitely be enough points to have him on your team for positions gained and overtake points. Probably will get a 0.5 million this weekend if he doesn't crash out. Then the other 2 have to be the Haas drivers. Again, Hulkenberg, P4. Probably not going to happen actually in qualifying, but Haas have brought upgrades, and it's really exciting times to be a Haas fan, as they've been looking really good the last few weeks, and I would definitely bring them in as F1 fantasy assets for 2 complete different reasons. Hulkenberg, as he could qualify really well and keep in that position, and Magnussen, he could qualify really badly and then his race pace kicks in, and then he could get up again like Gasly to a P12, P11, P10, and that's enough to have him on my team. And then a cheap driver to look away from would be Valtteri Bottas. Again, he looked pretty decent coming P12 in FP2. However, it looks like the same situation every weekend with Bottas. He'll qualify too well F1 fantasy terms and then drop further back to like P16, P17 and not get you any points. Then F1 fantasy team-wise, it still looks like Mercedes McLaren builds are the best team with Norris and Piastri as your 2 premium drivers, as Piastri looks like he will be the best second premium driver. Norris obviously with his 2x fastest lap driver of the day potential, really good for those sorts of teams. And then if you can't afford that, like me, the second best option that is only slightly behind it, because it could still get more points depending on what Red Bull do, is Norris as your premium driver with McLaren and Red Bull as your constructors. Again, if you have over 124 million, then you could go with McLaren and Red Bull with Norris and Piastri. Then you're sitting pretty because you get the best from both worlds. Up next, Stroll looks really good as a cheap driver option. Again, he's on his last weekend where he's a budget driver realistically, because he'll probably go up 0.5 million this weekend. And again, Aston Martin's pace won't be too amazing, but it will be good enough to be a comfortable driver to bring in, you know, obviously if he doesn't crash into a Stroll moment. And then again, like I said, don't read too much into the Mercedes pace, as I still expect them to be faster than the Ferraris, but it is still something to be careful of when picking premium drivers, as Russell and Hamilton don't look like the best options anymore. Then onto the don't go near section, and for premium drivers, I would steer very clear of Carlos Sainz, Sergio Perez, and Fernando Alonso. I know, crazy the Alonso one, who would have guessed? best. And then cheap drivers I'd try to steer clear of as well would be Logan Sargent, Valtteri Bottas, and both VCARB drivers of Tsunoda and Ricciardo. Both those two, though, it's not the end of the world if you still have them in your team. However, every other cheap driver, they've got their pros and cons. Like I said, there's the top three of Gasly, Hulkenberg, and Magnussen, but the likes of Ocon, Albon still aren't bad shouts. And then constructor-wise, please stay clear of Ferrari and Aston Martin. Like I said, Aston Martin might get a few people tricked into bringing them in. Do not trust the hype. And then finally, just for a little bit of fun, here is my top 5 predictions, because it sort of helps with F1 Fantasy as well. Top 5 will be Norris, Verstappen, Piastri, Russell, Hamilton. 20th place will be Logan Sargent. My surprise driver will be Sergio Perez. I think he could actually get a top 6 at this race. He looked pretty nifty in FP2. And then weak driver, I think, will be one of the Ferraris. Haven't decided yet, but I think one of them will bottle it. But anyway, thank you all so much for watching this video. Hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you all later for the deadline stream tomorrow before qualifying starts. Bye bye.